Hey, welcome to the September episode of Vegetables Matter. This is a craft cast about my fiber life. Um, the main thing that I'm going to be talking about today is some dyeing. I did a dye bath with Safflower, which was quite interesting, so I'm going to go into that a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about some finished objects and a couple other things as well. Before we really get into it, though, I do just want to talk about. Sorry, I'm being blinded by the sun. I can't really see what's happening, but anyway. So I'll just be closing my eyes, soaking in the sun. Just kind of wanted to talk about the transition of seasons and kind of where I'm at. It's turning into fall. It's a lovely day. It was a little chilly this morning, but it's warming up now. And I'm really enjoying this cooler weather. For a while with summer, I had a really challenging summer. Kind of the words that I kept using were bogged down by responsibility. Just had a lot of really huge stuff going on and just not enough playtime. And then, but I think I still was like really fighting for summer, just like, oh, summer can't go away yet. I need to actually have fun before it goes away. And I did have a few moments, a couple small little jumps in the river and, things like that, but no like really bigger water adventures, which I really missed out on, I think, this summer. Anyway, but I think I'd been kind of clinging to that, like, oh, I still need, to do something more fun with my summer. And then I got really sick. I've been having health problems, and that's been pretty overwhelming as well. Okay, at this point, I'm feeling like let bygones be bygones. Summer is past, and I'm just kind of welcoming the new season in. Yeah. One thing that I will say is, as I've been not feeling well and stuff, I haven't been doing a lot of fiber. My husband at one point was even like, "Oh, I can tell you're really not doing well because you're not even fibering anymore." Part of that is because I had this little needle felting project, and needle felting isn't my forte, and it doesn't really work very well to be laying down because then you have to be stabbing like on top of yourself. So you kind of need to be sitting up and stabbing, over a table or something. So that was definitely part of it. I think if I'd had a knitting project, I could have been doing a little bit more. So, um, I don't know. Oh yeah, as I've really kind of slowed down with health problems though as well, and kind of had to cut some other things out of my life. Fiber has been very healing for me. I've been doing a lot of Mordanting and dyeing, and it's just been just a lot of planning and getting back into that. I think for a while I was just kind of like, okay, just dealing with physical things, etc. And it was really good to get into fiber and start making plans again, instead of just like, who knows what's going to happen, who knows if I'll come out of this, etc. But just to make these plans and make plans for the future has been really nice. So I'll share some of that today. First off, let's start with some finished objects. I actually basically had this finished last time, but I had totally forgotten about it. So I have a new strap. I did this on the Inkle loom. This was the one, I think I mentioned it. My tension was way scawampus, and I would say this is definitely what I learned from this. This is not the most expertly done strap, but it is done. You can see it does kind of get thick and thin, and I had thought that I had warped it all wrong because when I first started, you can see that it's quite uneven. This is shifted over to this side, that pattern, and so I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I put in too much of this teal on this side and not enough over here. But I double checked it, and that's not the case. It's the right amount, but I just think it's because my tension was a lot looser on one side and tighter on the other, and so that made it just compact a lot more. So anyway, an interesting little thing to learn. Check the tension, make sure, I don't know, for me, I knew that it was kind of off and weird when I was doing it. I knew that the beginning part was too loose, but I just kept going anyway, and I should have, at that point, just taken it off. It did get easier as I went along because I finally did get enough that pulled up in here that then I was able to pull the tension a little bit tighter. It was still a little bit uneven tension, but anyway, got it finished up, so that's good, and I should think about putting something new on. One thing, like I have a few straps now and I'm not doing anything with them. I think I really need to learn more how to actually make them more functional, how to turn them into, guitar strap or, whatever, water bottle straps, etc. And then I think I can be a lot more motivated to keep going because they're really fun to make. It's just a matter of then using them, and I haven't yet. So, okay. The next thing, I've showed these a lot. It's kind of ridiculous to be showing them again because it's such a small little project. But I had felted these geometric teethers. And before doing that, I had kind of sewed in these corners so that they would be these shapes of squares and triangles. But when I felted them, then some of them just didn't retain that a lot, and so another kind of little finishing up that I did was just to take a needle and thread and emphasize some of these corners a little more. Some of them didn't terribly need it, but some of them did. So I have another one too, but it's packed up for a friend, and I already gave another one away as well. But anyway, have some of these to give away. Unfortunately, I'm so slow at actually accomplishing anything that some of the babies that these were for, I think, have gotten too old for them. But now I have some in store. So two of them, one that's already packaged, and then another one of these is going away. They definitely have a home to go to, but then I still have two others, so I'll be able to give those to some new babies coming along, which will be nice to have already in hand. Okay, the last finished object I have is my pair of socks. They're over here. It's a little bit awkward right now because they're drying. I've mordanted them, and I'll talk more about the mordanting of lots of things. So anyway, but they are done. Ends are woven in. They're totally done. So here they are. It was a pretty fun project. I'm not particularly a sock knitter, but the cables were interesting and fun. And the second one, I did a lot of knitting at work meetings, and it was kind of a lifesaver. I had other people being pretty jealous that I had something to fidget with and that they didn't, so hopefully I'll see more people fidgeting at future meetings. Hopefully I inspired them to bring some of their own work. Okay, some things about this. They fit really, really well. I'm really excited. When I got the yarn, I hadn't been planning to get like a white or cream. I'd wanted a color, but I just couldn't find a color in the weight that I liked. So I decided that I would just get these, and then I wanted to dye them. So that is the plan still. I decided because I do want them to stay kind of pale to really emphasize that, oh my gosh, you can't see that at all, that cable pattern. There we go, let's get some shadows in there. Yikes. So bright, so bright. Sorry. Well, I showed it another time, I think. Maybe not totally finished, though. But I do want them to stay kind of pale so that the cable still pops. When things get dark, then cables can get kind of lost. So my plan right now is to use some Hopi black sunflower seeds to get kind of a light blue or purple seed, depending on the pH. It can really vary. So anyway, these are done. Hip hip hooray. I'm excited about it, and this is my third pair of socks and my first ever using a heel flap and gusset. So this must be the second one because this heel flap looks pretty nice. You can't see a thing. It's all totally washed out. How do I fix this problem? Okay, you can kind of maybe. Anyway, this heel flap and gusset I kind of screwed up. Maybe I'll put some pictures in. So this one, I found it very challenging to do just a knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one. That's not something that I've really done before, and so my hands just automatically kept wanting to go knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and so I would often just move the yarn from from the back of the work to the front of the work. And so that was a little bit challenging, this first one, and I did mess up a few times. I decided that I wasn't going to worry about it. They're socks. Socks get holes in them pretty quickly anyway, and so I just was like, yeah, it's fine. But I was hoping that the second one I would be a little bit better at, and I was like, yeah, I don't know that that's really going to be the case. I always think, oh, next time it'll be great, and then of course you make the same mistakes. But I did find that by the time I was knitting the second one, then it was true. My hands were fine with that at that point, so I didn't have that same problem. So that was interesting. One thing that I do have a question about is, the heel flap. I think a lot of the purpose is to give additional strength right here. I think a lot of people do get holes here. This is not where I get holes in my socks. I get holes right in the ball of the foot is the first place, and then if I get something else, it'll be at the bottom of the heel rather than the back of the heel. So it does seem like it would be smart for me to do kind of some additional strength in the ball if I'm to make future socks for myself, because it's a weak part for me, and so why not strengthen it early on instead of having to darn it so often. Darn it. So that is finished object, which is exciting. And I did get it done in time to complete the successful make-along. So, woohoo, I did it. I think they gave you like 4 months for it, 3 or 4 months, and I know that a lot of people are just going to be cranking out lots and lots of pairs during that time. I needed that full 4 months. That's about how long it takes me to do socks. Well, last time it actually took me over a year, so I'm impressed that I got these ones done. And it was fun, and I would do it again, although I do like mittens more, and I think I really want some mittens to have at work next up. That's kind of my idea. Okay, that is all for my finished objects. I think next I'm just going to talk about, oh yeah, first I have a whip. So with summer leaving, I still have a summer seasonal decor thing that I had the idea for it last year, didn't get around to it. This year I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, and then it's just been an insane summer. But I have started on it, and at this point I feel pretty determined to finish it up rather than letting it wait till next year. So even though summer's kind of on its way out, I figure I can get this still already, and I'm feeling motivated for that at this point. At some point I might just say, oh, that's enough for now, I'll finish it up next time, but I have made, oh, this is the one I made last night, it doesn't have eyes on it yet. I've made these little bees. So I have 5 of them right now. I just, again, I'm not much of a needle felter. These are needle felted. This one's kind of a big one. I finished one last night. I only had 4. And I was kind of thinking, oh, I had thought that I wanted 5 or 6, and I was like, oh, I've got 5. That seems perfect. I'll call it done. And then my husband said, oh, if it's bees, you have to do 6. And I thought, oh, you're right. I do have to do 6 with bees. So I'll make another one. And then I plan to make just like a little mobile thing and hang them from it and have a little beehive. Yeah, it's been a fun little project. I actually started this right before my health problems really started. I was literally working, like I made one. What was my first one? This one was my first one. I made this, and then I started to make the second one, and then pain hit. I laid down, and then I went into 3 weeks of craziness. So it's been slow. Woo! Dog hairs attached. So hopefully we'll finish that up pretty soon. Where am I? Okay, moving along. Spinning wise, I'm still working on the Piney Woods Native spin that I was working on last time. I did end up putting the bats through the drum carder a second time. They just, as I was spinning, they weren't being quite as nice as they had been, and I just thought, I'm going to put them through again. So did that. you know, just kind of slowly working away on that. I think originally I had 6 bats. I think I'm down to like 2 or 2.5. So yeah, working away on it. That's good. Okay, next up is the dyeing. And I guess first let's kind of go in order with Mordanting. So I did a lot of Mordanting. You can see all of this yarn here. This is the yarn for my husband's sweater. So I mordanted it all, and I plan to dye it with sagebrush in an iron pot to get, hopefully, a nice green. I've done that once before, worked out great. Hopefully it doesn't screw up when I'm dyeing this huge batch, because that would suck. Especially because last time, I had this other plan of dyeing with red onion skins, and when I had, you know, the first time I had done it, I got this gorgeous green. Second time, I did not. So that went out the window, and I don't know what I'll use that yarn for, but anyway, so I'm going to try something different with this, and hopefully it'll work out. Hopefully I'll get some type of green or something that's salvageable to over dye something else so it turns green. Yeah, so really looking forward to making progress on that. I also mordanted kind of some other skeins as well, and I've been dyeing stuff up. So yeah, lots of mordanting as well as the socks. Just getting things kind of ready for the next step, which has been fun. So the dye that I did is Safflower dye, and I had like a pack of it that I bought at a fiber fair. And the directions on there just said, you know, basically a typical dye bath preparation. You know, you simmer it and then take it out and put your fiber in and, you know, do it that way. And so I was just like, oh, perfect, that's easy. I was kind of debating between doing Safflower or Alkanet, but Alkanet had like a different process, and I was like, let's just do the typical. That's kind of what I'm up for. But it had this really weird instruction where it said that this amount would dye 1 pound/yard of fiber. I'm just like, what does that even mean? A pound is a lot of fiber. I don't know that this can really dye that much. And then if I'm looking at a yard of fiber, I mean, clearly a yard of yarn is not very long. In construction, they talk about yards as well, but those are cubic yards, and that would be like a magnificent amount. And so it just didn't quite make sense. So I thought, okay, I should look up online how to do this. So Safflower is a very interesting dye that is not how, I mean, maybe it would have worked if I had just done it how it said, and maybe I would have gotten actually colors that I was more excited about. I don't know. I was hoping for like some oranges because the petals are orange, so I thought, why not? Okay, so you can actually have 2 separate dye baths with 1 batch of Safflower. Pretty interesting. So first you just soak the petals in cold water, and then you pour that off, and then do it maybe like 2 or 3 times. So, you know, I was soaking for at least an hour each time and then pouring that off. And this is how you get the yellow dye out of it. So did that, and then probably 3 times. Yeah, I did it 3 times. Had this really deep color. It was very orangey yellow. Like you would put your hand in, and your hand would just be yellow. I mean, it washes off right away, but this really, really rich dye bath that I was excited about. So I put in some fiber that I previously mordanted, that I mordanted for this. So this is some of that Rommeldale that I had spun up. This is the fingering weight, and then some of the Icelandic that I had spun up that I showed last time as well. It's more of a Aran weight, really. So threw both of these in, and then it said that you could at that point raise the temperature of the dye bath. So I think I did, and just, you know, kind of let it simmer for a little bit. And so these are the colors I got, some pretty yellows. They're nice. Yellow is pretty common, and so I'm thinking, and I actually haven't rinsed these yet. Again, that's kind of my typical style. I take things out of a dye bath, I let it dry and kind of sit there for a week or 2, and then I'll rinse it. These ones are probably just about ready to get rinsed, which will be good to see how much I lose. My idea with this is that I'm going to try over dyeing it with indigo, because I've seen people do that and get some really gorgeous greens. And I mean, it's nice. It's a nice yellow, but I don't know that I need yellow. And green sounds really awesome. And playing around with indigo and over dyeing sounds really exciting as well. So that's that plan. I also threw in, anyway, more Mordanting, and then I threw in some of this into the exhaust dye bath. So also have kind of this paler yellow, and again want to do the same thing and over dye this with indigo. Really interested to see the range of greens and maybe teals and blues. Those are all my colors, much more than yellow is. So that sounds really fun. This is some Rambouillet. Oh yeah, I also have a bunch of it here. It's still kind of drying from Mordanting. This is from, I always forget if it's Cunningham or Cunnington Fibers, their farm or something like that, down near Moab, Utah. They do really great stuff. I don't have a, this might be some of the only thing I have from them, but with the Livestock Conservancy's rare breeds thing they're doing, this is one of the farms that really participates in that. And they're really conscious of a lot of things, the mill they use, and how things are getting spun, not getting extra chemicals, etc. They're really conscious of all that, and I'd like to support them more. So I have this. Oh, and I should just say this Rambouillet's name is Cinderella. I've spun up just a teeny bit of it, and then I had to kick it off my wheel because I was out of bobbins, and so that got ejected, and I haven't done anything else with it. It's the only time I've ever worked with Rambouillet, and yeah, it's been good. Okay, so that's the yellow. Next, with the Safflower, after you pull out the yellow, and everyone says to actually pull out the yellow, even if you only want the pink and not the yellow, like you still have to do this, and people say you can just toss the yellow, but why would you do that if you have a dye bath? You use it. So then what you do is you take more cold water and you change the pH, you raise the pH up to about 11, and then you put the petals in there, let them soak, and then and then strain that off. And you can do that a couple times. I only did it once, but I saved the petals. One thing that I read said save the petals, and then you can do it again and have like a weaker pink. So I've saved them. I'm not sure if I'll use them again or not. So you raise the pH, soak it, filter out the petals so you have the dye liquid. Then you bring the pH back down to like 7 or something, and then you put your fiber in. But you can't put wool fibers in. It won't dye on wool fibers. You can't raise the heat of this at all. It kills the dye, it says. So you can only use cellulose fibers, but also silk. So I tried doing that. I don't have pH paper, and I had no idea how much to do of stuff. I was kind of like, what do I do? Do I wait till I get pH strips? Do I not? I was like, let's just try it. Let's experiment. Let's see what happens. I can get more Safflower at some point. And I have ordered pH strips now for the future. I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's bite the bullet. We're going to just play around with this one, but I have pH strips coming. So that's kind of fun to think about. Okay, so did that. Had no idea how much really to do. And they said if you brought the pH too much, it would kill off the dye. Maybe I did. I have no idea. But then I put in 4 different things. I put in some silk noils that I had. I put in some mystery fiber that's like linen or hemp that I have, and it's kind of darker already. I put in some white hemp, and I put in some white cotton. And I've never dyed with any of these fibers before, so it was really fun to experiment. This is probably my favorite of them. This is the silk noils. I don't know if you can see the color at all. Oh, yikes. I'll take some pictures and try to show. So this one's pretty interesting. It's pink, but there's also some orange bits. And it does say with the silk that it can take up some yellow in the dye as well as the pink, and so it can turn some more corally colors. So interesting. I kind of thought with these silk noils, I don't know that I want to just spin straight silk, so I think that I want to do like a blend with something, and I've thought, oh, it could be fun to like mix it with some, I don't know, like really make something maybe a little bit more tweedy and have some of this be in there. I thought it could be nice with like a black, and then kind of like these flecks of pinks, kind of darken it up a little bit. Pink is not really my color, so none of these are quite my favorite. So it'll be interesting to see what I do with them. Okay, so that's the silk. And then this is I do like this one. So this was the linen or hemp that was a little bit darker. Is that true? No. This is the hemp that's white. Okay, it actually turned out kind of nice. So, I don't know. Nope. I'll have to do pictures. With all of these, it was a little bit disappointing. I soaked them for plenty of time beforehand to really get things to go all the way through, but a lot of it just died on the surface. Then when I open it up, then it still is its original color inside. So a little bit disappointing, but also fine for this color. I don't mind it to be kind of a variety of colors. So anyway, interesting. And then this is the hemp that was a little bit darker, hemp or linen that was a bit darker. So it has a little bit more of a purple hue to it. These are all like stiff now. Again, these haven't been rinsed either. Yeah, weird. And then the cotton. This also has a little bit of orangey in it, but that might go away. So just some little samples of things. It was just fun to experiment with new fibers that I've never tried dyeing before. So that is that. I think I'm just about to the end of this episode. I guess I will just talk a little bit about the garden and the harvest. I had mentioned being a little disappointed with some things. Squash and peppers didn't happen this year at all for me. Luckily I have some neighbors who have shared it with me, so that's good, and the farmer's market. But some things that I do have going on. This plum tree has been given some good fruit this year. I had a few this morning. They were yummy. Pear tree, we're getting some pears, and ours haven't ripened up yet, so I haven't tasted any of those, but some of them have been dropping. So, and I've just pulled some off the tree to have it not be so weighty, and they can ripen up on their own. Let's see. Today, I see that a few of the almonds, we have probably about 20 almonds or something on our tree. So it's first year producing, and they're kind of beginning to, a couple of them have begun to split open, so that's exciting. Lots of potatoes. I've been doing some potato harvest and have a big bowl of them, and there's more. There's more to be dug up. Lots of onions, which is fun. Tomatoes are, yeah, we've got plenty of tomatoes right now, which is good. Not tons for like freezing and storing for next year. Everything's been a little bit slow that way, but plenty. Honestly, if I could, I should and could be doing a little bit more than I am. Oh yeah, and then dye plant wise, been harvesting some Hopi sunflower seeds, and seeing how some of those are really darkening up under there. So I'm excited for that, especially as I've been using up some dye plants, then to also be harvesting some as well. It's been really cool. So also have marigolds going on this year. Last year I didn't harvest or collect them at all for dye plants, and I should have. I don't know why I didn't. It was kind of silly of me. So this year, as some of them are starting to fade, then I kind of pull off those petals and let them dry. So I've been kind of collecting those as that comes along too. So yeah, excited about those things. That is everything for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and I guess I would just want to say a little hi to Annie and Megan. Annie is on her way over to visit Megan. Not just visit, she's moving there for a while, living at the folk school there. So hello to you too. You're a big reason why I'm doing this. Love you. Bye-bye.
Take pictures.
Whoa!